The entire hall burst into laughter before the poor girl even stepped through the doorway. "Bring me the ugliest maid in the territory." The Duke's voice echoed across the grand room like thunder. Cowboys, merchants, ranch owners, and noble guests grinned into their glasses. Everyone knew Duke William Hartwell had become a bitter man. 3 years earlier, the woman he loved had abandoned him at the altar and vanished with another man. Since then, he trusted no woman, not a single one. He believed beauty was a lie, a trap, a weapon. And tonight, after too much whiskey and too many cruel jokes from his friends, he made a humiliating order. "Let's see if there's at least one woman in this territory who won't use her face to deceive a man." More laughter filled the room. The head servant hesitated. "My lord, did you not hear me?" The old servant lowered his head. "Yes, your grace." A few minutes later, the massive doors opened. The laughter slowly faded. A young woman stepped. Inside, she wore a plain brown dress. Her posture was stiff. Her hands trembled. But what drew everyone's attention was the large faded scarf covering most of her face. Only her eyes were visible. Several guests immediately whispered, "Good Lord, is she hiding a scar? Maybe she's deformed." The Duke leaned back in his chair. "So this is her? Her name is Clara." Clara kept her gaze. Lowered. William studied her. She seemed small. Fragile. Yet strangely calm despite being dragged into a room full of mocking strangers. "Remove the scarf." One man laughed. Several others joined him. "Yes. Let's see. Show us." Clara's fingers tightened. Fear flashed across her eyes. William noticed. Something about it made him uncomfortable. For a moment. Only a moment. Then his bitterness returned. "Go ahead," he said coldly. "Let everyone see." The room fell silent. Slowly, Clara raised trembling hands toward her scarf. Her breathing shook. Every movement looked painful. As if she had done this 1,000 times before, and every time had ended badly. Scarf slipped. Gasps filled the room. Not because she was ugly. Because she wasn't. A jagged scar stretched along one side of her face. Old. Faded. But impossible to ignore. The room immediately relaxed. Some guests smirked. Others looked away. The Duke stared. The scar should have made her look frightening. Instead, it somehow made her look sad, beautifully sad. And her eyes, he couldn't stop looking at them. They carried a loneliness he recognized. The loneliness of someone abandoned by the world. "What happened to you?" he asked. Clara hesitated. "A fire." "When?" "When I was 12. The room lost interest almost immediately. The guests returned to drinking. To them, she was merely another servant, another broken thing. But William kept staring. Something felt wrong. Not with her. With himself. Because for the first time in years, he felt ashamed. He had ordered her brought here to be mocked, and she had done nothing to deserve it. Nothing. Double quotes. Leave us. The room froze. One guest laughed. "What?" "You heard me." Within moments, everyone reluctantly exited. Only William and Clara remained. Silence stretched between them. Then he spoke quietly. "I'm sorry." Her eyes widened. She clearly hadn't expected that. Neither had he. No apology had crossed his lips in years. Clara lowered her head. "You don't owe me an apology, Your Grace." "Yes, I do." The words surprised him because they were true. For the first time in a very long time, a strange feeling settled inside him. One he didn't recognize. Regret. The next morning, Clara expected punishment. Instead, she was reassigned. From kitchen labor. to the Duke's personal household staff. The other servants immediately became jealous. Why her? She's nobody. Because he pities her. But Clara knew pity when she saw. This wasn't pity. The Duke watched her. Constantly. Not in the way men usually watched women. As if he was trying to solve a mystery. And the more he watched her, the more questions appeared. Because Clara seemed educated. Far too educated. She spoke carefully. Read books during breaks. Knew things no ordinary maid should know. One evening William found her alone in the library. She immediately stood. I'm sorry. Your Grace. What are you reading? She hesitated. A history book. He raised an eyebrow. Most servants couldn't read, yet she read better than many. Noblemen. You learned this where? My mother taught me. And who taught your mother? Pain crossed her face. Someone who no longer matters. That answer lingered in his thoughts all. Night. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. The Duke found himself seeking excuses to speak with her. A question about books. A discussion about horses. A conversation about whether. Anything. He began smiling again. The staff noticed. The entire ranch noticed. Even Clara noticed, and that frightened her most of all, because every time she looked at him, her heart betrayed her. She had promised herself years ago never to love anyone, not after everything that had happened, not after the secret she carried, a secret powerful enough to destroy both their lives. Then, one evening a stranger arrived at the estate. The moment Clara saw him, all color vanished from her face. The man smiled, cruel smile, the smile of someone who knew exactly how to ruin her. And as his eyes locked onto hers, he whispered one terrifying sentence. I finally found you. Clara nearly dropped the tray in her hands. Stranger stood near the stable. Entrance. Tall. Well-dressed. Dangerous. No one else noticed the fear consuming her. But William did. He always noticed. Duke crossed the courtyard. Do you know this man? Clara immediately answered. No. Too quickly. Far too quickly. The stranger smiled wider. My name is Victor Howe. He extended a hand. William shook it. Victor's eyes never left Clara. An old acquaintance of the family. Clara's stomach twisted. Family. The word felt like a knife. That night she couldn't sleep. She locked her door, covered the window, checked the shadows outside 3 separate times. Memories returned. Painful memories. A burning house, a dead mother, a hidden letter, a promise. And Victor. Always Victor. The following day he cornered her behind this barn. You've done well for yourself. Leave me alone. I don't think so. She turned away. His voice stopped. Her. I know who you are. Her heart stopped. Victor stepped closer. If the Duke learns the truth, he'll throw you out himself. Clara clenched her fists. What do you want? Money. Of course. Money. Blackmail. Always ended with money. I don't have any. Then find some. Victor leaned closer. Or I tell him everything. That evening Clara avoided William completely, but avoidance only made him suspicious. Finally he found her sitting beside the creek after sunset. The orange sky reflected across the water. For a moment neither spoke. Then William sat beside her. What's wrong? Nothing. You're a terrible liar. A small smile appeared. Despite her fear. William looked at her carefully. You can tell me. If only she could. If only life were that simple. Instead, She stood. I should go. William grabbed her wrist gently. The moment their eyes met, the world seemed to disappear. The silence became something else. Something warm. Something terrifying. Something neither could ignore anymore. Slowly he released her hand. Clara. His voice softened. She already knew what he wanted to say. She had seen it growing for months. And the worst part? She felt the same. More than the same. Far more. She loved him. She loved him with every broken piece of her heart, which was exactly why she couldn't stay. 3 days later, she disappeared. No goodbye. No explanation. Nothing. The Duke searched everywhere. The ranch. The nearby towns. The train station. The churches. Nothing. It felt as if she had vanished into dust. Then a letter arrived. His hands shook as he opened it. Only a few lines were written. Forgive me. Leaving is the only way to protect you. Please don't look for me. Forget. M. William read it again. And again. And again. Then he noticed something. A stain on the paper. A tear. Clara had cried while writing it, which meant one thing. She didn't want to leave. Someone had forced her. And if someone had forced her, William intended to find out who. The next morning he mounted his horse. Determination burned in his eyes. For the first time in years, he had something worth fighting for. What he didn't know was that Clara had already been taken far away, and Victor was preparing to reveal a secret buried for more than 20 years, a secret connected directly to the Duke himself. Asterisk. The truth began with an old photograph. William found it hidden inside Clara's abandoned room. A faded picture of a young woman holding a baby. Written on the back were 3 words, for my William. The Duke stared at the writing. His blood ran cold. His father's name had also been William. A coincidence. At least that was what he told himself. Until he found the letter folded inside the photograph. The paper was yellow with age. Every line shattered another piece of certainty. The letter had been written by Clara's mother, and it was addressed to the Duke's father. Not only had they known each other, they had loved each other. Deeply, desperately. Long before his father married into wealth. William spent days investigating. The deeper he dug, the darker the story became. Promises had been made, promises broken. A wealthy family had separated 2 lovers. One became a duke. The other disappeared. Pregnant. Alone. Abandoned. William sat in his study for hours, unable to move, unable to breathe. One question haunted him. Who was Clara? Then the final answer arrived, and it hit harder than a bullet. Clara wasn't merely connected to his family. She was part of it. His father's daughter. His half-sister. The room spun. The papers slipped from his hands. Everything suddenly made sense. Her education, the hidden secrets, Victor's threats, her desperate disappearance. She had discovered the truth first, and she had run to protect him. Too. Protect them both. William buried his face in his hands. Pain unlike anything he had ever known tore through him. The woman he loved, the woman who had healed his broken heart, woman he couldn't stop thinking about, was family. Or so the evidence claimed. Days later, he finally found Clara. She was staying in a small town, hundreds of miles away. The moment she saw him, tears filled her eyes. You shouldn't have come. Tell me the truth. She lowered her head. I already know. Silence. Then she began crying, real crying, the kind that comes from a shattered soul. I'm sorry. William stepped closer. Did you know all along? No. She shook her head violently. Found out only months ago. Every word hurt. Every word felt impossible. The two of them stood there with broken hearts between them. A love neither could erase. Future neither could have. Then Victor appeared, slowly clapping. A smug grin stretched across his face, touching. William turned. Rage exploded inside him. Victor laughed. You should thank me. Duke grabbed him by the collar. Victor's smile never faded. Before you break my neck, perhaps you'd like to know something. William froze. What? Victor leaned forward. The documents are fake. For several seconds nobody moved. Even the wind seemed to stop. William stared at Victor. What did you say? Victor smiled nervously. For the first time, his confidence cracked. The documents were forged. William's fist tightened. Why? Money. Victor swallowed hard. Your family's enemies paid me. Clara looked stunned. What enemies? The people who wanted the Hartwell. Inheritance. Everything suddenly unraveled. The letters. The records. Evidence. All manipulated. All designed to create one devastating lie. A lie capable of separating two people forever. William released Victor, then punched him so hard he crashed into the dirt. Years of anger exploded at once. Victor screamed. Duke didn't care. For months Clara had suffered. 4 months both of them had lived in misery. Because of greed. Because of lies. Because one man chose money over human lives. Victor was arrested before sunrise. The investigation continued for weeks. Eventually, the truth emerged. Clear. Undeniable. Clara single quotes Sissy. Mother had loved William's father. That part was real, but Clara was not his daughter, not even remotely related. The false documents had been planted years later. A scheme? Nothing more. When the official confirmation arrived, Clara simply stared at it, unable to process the words. William watched her quietly. Then he asked the question living inside his heart. Do you believe it now? Tears filled her eyes. Slowly, she nodded. The Duke stepped closer. So we're free? Clara laughed through tears. A broken laugh. A hopeful laugh. A beautiful laugh. And suddenly months of pain crashed over both of them. Every fear. Every goodbye. Every sleepless night. Every tear. Gone. William gently touched her scar. The scar she once hated. The scar that brought them together. The scar that made him regret everything. You know what I see when I look at this? She shook her head. A survivor. Her lips trembled. I never felt beautiful. Then the world has been blind. The tears finally escaped. William pulled her into his arms. And for the first time since they met, neither pulled away. But fate wasn't finished yet, because back at Hartwell Ranch, another secret was waiting. A secret hidden by William's own family. One that could change Clara's life forever. Asterisk. The final secret came from an old wooden chest. It had belonged to William's father, locked for decades, forgotten by everyone. Inside were journals. Letters. And one envelope bearing Clara's mother's name. With shaking hands, Clara opened it. Her eyes widened immediately. Then tears appeared. William sat beside her. What is it? She couldn't speak. She simply handed him the letter. As he read, emotion tightened his throat. Years earlier, his father had searched for Clara's mother. Not for months. 4 years. He had tried to find her after being forced into an arranged marriage. But by then she had vanished. He never stopped loving her, never stopped regretting losing her. The letter contained something else, a final request. If Eleanor ever had a child, that child should receive a portion of his personal estate, not because of blood, because of love, because he felt responsible, because he never forgot her. Weeks later, the lawyers confirmed everything. The request was legal. Valid. Clara inherited enough money to live comfortably for the rest of her life. But the money wasn't what broke her. It was knowing her mother had truly been loved, that she hadn't been abandoned, that someone had fought for her, even if they never found each other again. One evening, Clara stood beside the old creek where she and William once sat together. Sunset painted gold across the water. The world felt peaceful. At last. William approached quietly. "You've been thinking." She smiled. "About everything." He sat beside her. "Any regrets?" She looked at him. The man who once ordered this ugliest maid brought before him. The man who humiliated her, then apologized. The man who changed. The man who chose kindness when it mattered most. The man she loved. No. William reached into his pocket. Her eyes widened. A small ring rested in his palm. "I almost lost you once." His voice shook. "I'm not interested in surviving that experience again." Tears instantly filled her eyes. "Clara." He knelt. The powerful Duke, the feared ranch owner. The man respected by thousands, kneeling before a former maid, not because he had to, because he wanted to. "Will you marry me?" She laughed through tears. The same beautiful laugh he adored. "Yes." The answer came immediately, without hesitation. Without fear, without doubt. Yes. Months later, the wedding brought people from every corner of the territory. Cowboys. Ranchers. Servants. Merchants. Everyone came. Not because a duke was marrying, because they had witnessed a story worth believing in. A story about second chances, not about forgiveness, not about seeing beyond scars. As Clara walked toward William beneath the bright western sky, she remembered the night everything began. The laughter, the humiliation. The cruel order, "Bring me the ugliest maid." Memory no longer hurt. Because that moment had led her here. To love. To family. To home. And when William took her hands and looked into her eyes, he smiled. A smile filled with wonder, filled with gratitude, filled with a lifetime of devotion. The Duke had ordered the ugliest maid, but what he found was the most beautiful soul he would ever know. And this time, neither of them would ever let go. Asterisk.